Okay, so welcome. Good morning, everyone. Hopefully the headset's working fine. Hope you like my new white trousers, as if the cold breeze blowing wasn't quite enough to underscore the arrival of winter. Sorry, the arrival of autumn. I'm just adding to it by wearing white, which is the autumnal colors in Chinese 5 elements. Whites and grays are autumn colors. And so, yeah, to underscore that fact, unfortunately, I seem to blend into the background from what I can see, but never mind, I'm sure it'll be okay. So let's start off with our feet at shoulder width posture, and we're just gently turning the waist. So the knees are softly bent, the back is nice and straight, top of the head gently pushing up into the blue sky. This turn is coming all the way out of the belly. So we're moving the belly from side to side. And as the belly moves, the spine turns. As the spine turns, the shoulders turn. And then the hands just hanging, or the arms just hanging loose from the shoulders, wrap around the body and tap on. So open up the palms and just let them tap gently onto the sides of your body. You just let your forearms thump softly onto your tummy and let the wrists tap gently onto the small of your back. Okay, so we're just working away here, just stimulating the qi, getting the qi flowing. So the idea is that often when you sleep, you end up, the qi kind of tends to pool in the bigger muscles, into your thighs and arms and so forth. And so when we start off first thing doing our Qigong exercises, just do a simple exercise like this. It just gets the qi flowing around the body. As you tap onto the body, it sends a little vibration of qi through the body. So your diaphragm is a bit like a drum. The belly is a bit like a big bass drum. And so as you tap onto it, you send a vibration through all of the organs. You're tapping directly onto your kidneys, around the back, or just to the base of the kidneys, really, just below them perhaps. But again, they still benefit from it. Your forearms are gently tapping onto your spleen and pancreas on the left-hand side, gently tapping onto your liver on the right-hand side. So those major organs just get a gentle thump, gets the blood flowing, gets the qi flowing. The spine turns gently, the hips turn a little bit, the knees and ankles move slightly. Of course, your shoulders, elbows, and wrists are moving. We'll get onto the neck, a little bit more detail slightly later, but the head's moving gently at the moment as well. So it's a great wake-up exercise for the whole body. This was the first Qigong exercise I ever did, some 35 years, who knows, 33, 35 years ago, not quite sure, long time ago. First Qigong exercise I ever did. And it's still the first exercise I do every day. So when I start my sort of own warm-ups, I always do this first. And in fact, the warm-up set we do at the beginning of every class is my own personal recipe to make me live to 125 years old. And so, yeah, I use the same warm-up routine. And then afterwards, I add to it all sorts of little things that I need to do to keep my body working. But it always starts as a great foundation, a really useful foundation to get one's morning going. And if I only have, 15 minutes, if I suddenly have to rush off somewhere, if I only have 15 minutes, I just do the warm-up set we're doing now with these twists and then forward and back bends and some side bends. And that's enough to, keep my back in great shape and get me ready for the day, as it were. And when I have longer, which is most mornings, I do added extras that I enjoy, and added extras that I need, as it were. So this time of year, I've made that reference there to autumn. This time of year, we've just moved into the autumn stage. What does that look like from Chinese medicine perspective? Well, clearly, at this time of year, we start to worry about colds, about coughs, deep in the chest. There's also the suggestion that the lungs are paired with the large intestine. So the large intestine is the kind of the alimentary, not the alimentary canal, sorry, the below the stomach and below the small intestine, as it were. And so we might have some sort of problems, I suppose, with bowel movements, things like that, might be more prevalent at this time of year. Sorry, I haven't really given that much thought, but probably a good time of year to start taking your probiotics and your prebiotics and things like that, I suppose. Okay, so that's the reason for that is that as we move into autumn, the lungs and the little partner, the large intestines, are asked to do more work and put more kind of like emphasis on that part of the life of your life. And so asthma might become a problem, I suppose. I think that asthma and eczema tend to be kind of very bound together. So perhaps, and of course, it's impossible to separate the lungs and the skin. If you think about it, your skin is exposed to the outside world and your lungs are exposed to the outside world, but just tucked inside your body. Everything you breathe in is the same stuff that touches your skin. It goes in and touches the surface of your lungs. So perhaps you might experience dry skin at this time of year because obviously it's very dry. So there's a good time to get your E45 cream out. So those are kind of ideas about lungs, but let's just work with this exercise a little bit more and open it up. So slow down slightly and stretch a bit further. Just use your neck a little bit more to turn the whole exercise. So now we're opening up a little bit more and stretching the spine. We can change the hands as well. So why not let your hand gently tap on the outside of your upper arm. So you're just slapping your bicep, and also the other hand is still going around the back and tapping you on the kidneys. That doesn't change, but now the point of contact is changed. So we're slapping the outside of the upper arm, and that is stimulating the lung channel and the large intestine channel. So the lung channel runs in the arms, and if you've been watching my Lift You Up, Put You Down classes, you'll know that I reference the fact that when we do lift you up, put you down, the lung chi moves in the arms. The large intestine chi moves in the arms. Just a few more times. If you find yourself feeling lightheaded, just concentrate on the soles of your feet. Just concentrate downwards, connect downwards. Feel the earth below you. Feel your stability. Settle, relax, calm, connect. So we can just gently stimulate our lungs by tapping the arms in this way, and then we can let the whole thing slowly subside, slowly subside, slowly subside, slowly subside. Comes to a stop. Put the hands in the earth and lift chi up. Gently pour the chi down through your body. Move the chi from the head deep into the chest, down into the belly. Draw the chi down your legs, connect into the earth. Down the chi. And pour chi. draw chi to your belly, and then let the hands relax. Just keep going with that. Gathering chi, lifting chi up. Pour chi down, draw the chi down through the head. Move the chi into the chest. Move the chi into the belly. And relax the hands down. Okay, so if you feel you need to do that more often to make yourself feel more stable, then do so. Otherwise, we're just gathering the chi up and we're going to go into a gentle forward bend. So allow the chi to move through your body, drawing the chi down, and then we'll gently sink downwards. Whole body relaxes and hangs. Back of the neck relaxes. Nice and easy, nice and relaxed. Tummy tucked. Good, so let's extend softly down towards our toes. And release. In line with the roots of our toes. And release. In line with our insteps. And release. Back towards our heels. Body hangs and relaxes. Okay, so lift the tailbone up behind. Push the tailbone towards the front. Scroll the spine up. Allow the head, the arms, the ears to come up. Gently draw up to full height and stretch. Release the knees and the hips forward as you lean back. Stretching up and gently back. Up and back. Up and gently back. Hands up into the blue sky. Okay, so we're just going to let the left hand gently curl down. And then down on the right hand side. Down on the left. Down on the right. Good, and then just gather the hands up above the crown of the head. So we begin the whole process again, except soft knees, nice and easy. Ears and arms tip over. Gently working your way downwards. Relaxing the back down, soft knees, let the body just hang down there. Gentle and easy, nice and relaxed. Whole body relaxes. Okay, so our first extension is going to take us softly down towards the toes. And release. In line with the roots of the toes. And release. Toward the insteps. And release. Back towards the heels. Body relaxes and hangs. Tailbone lifts up behind. Tailbone pushes to the front. Spine gently rolls up. Head, arms, and ears gently curl up. Stretch up to full height. Knees and hips go forward as you lean back. Stretching up and back. Up and back. Stretching up and back. Hands up into the blue sky. Left hand curls down. We open the right side of the body. Right hand curls down. Let the left hand side open. Down on the left. And down on the right. Right hand comes up above. Okay, so we're going to go through the whole thing this time with the legs straight. Just legs straight. Tip over head, arms, ears. Curl into the upper back, the middle back, and the lower back. Just let the whole thing settle down and sink.
The back of the neck relaxes, body hangs and relaxes. Extend softly towards the toes and release. In line with the roots of the toes and release. Toward the insteps and release. Back towards the heels, deep bend. Relax and release, body hangs. Tailbone gently lifts up behind, tailbone pushes to the front, spine rolls up, head, arms and ears roll up, stretch up into the blue sky. Just going to go down on the left-hand side, down on the right-hand side, on the left, and on the right. And then draw the right hand up above. Last time through them, legs straight, just tipping over the head, arms and ears. Into the upper back, into the middle back, and into the lower back. Let the body hang and relax. Keep the legs as straight as you can. Shift the weight a tiny bit to your toes. Really feel the hamstrings open. Extending softly down towards your toes. And release. In line with the roots of your toes. And release. Toward the insteps. Stretching down. And release. Toward the heels. Body hangs and relaxes. Tailbone gently lifts up. Pushes to the front. Spine rolls up. Head, arms and ears come up. Stretch up into the blue sky. Knees and hips go forward as you lean back. Stretching up and gently back. Up and back. Up and gently back. Okay, hands in the blue sky. Allow the left hand to curl down. Right side of the body opens. Right hand curls down. Left hand side of the body gently open. Down on the left. And down on the right. Good. Draw the hands up above the crown of the head and allow Qi to gently pour through your body for a few moments. Release the hands down the sides. Gather Qi. Plug the hands in the earth. Lift up. Gather Qi. Pour Qi through the body, through the head, deep into the chest, deep into the belly, drawing Qi down. Releasing the hands and letting the Qi flow. Gather again. And pull. Draw Qi down. Down. And again. Pull. Draw Qi deep inside. Next time, just allow the hands to gather and then we're going to bring them down. We're just going to place them on the belly. Moving the energy deep inside the body. Draw the hands to the belly. Let the hands just settle there. Nice and relaxed. Deeply connected. So on the palm of your hand, you have right in the center a point called Lao Gong, an acupuncture point. So one Lao Gong is resting right on top of the other Lao Gong. And then both of those
acupuncture points are resting on top of your belly button, Du Qi. And those 3 points are all aligned deep inside with the lower energy field. Dantian. Dantian in Chinese translates as the altar. It's got some other exotic names like the lower cinnabar field. Not quite sure what cinnabar is, but I think it's supposed to be some mythical, extraordinary substance, part of internal alchemy. So deep inside you, this lower field is beginning to gather energy. So what would be the point of that? Well, in daily life, in the Western world, we're not really taught about qi. But in the structure of qi, the Chinese have always known that deep inside, you can have this vast store of energy. When martial artists think about this vast store of energy, they move it to the front and down. Because it's a concept rather than natural organ as such, you can place it where you want. You could put it in your left knee if you wanted, but there wouldn't be much point. But from a martial artist's perspective, they concentrate on having it at the front and slightly lower, which brings it towards the male genitalia, which makes the whole thing about fighting, of course. But in healing, we bring it back and we have it deep inside the belly here. And we're gathering lots of energy for healing. So the closer we move it in the direction of the kidneys, the more the kidneys benefit. So if you think about where you are now, you have the hands on the belly button straight through into this energy field, lower energy field, straight back to the spine, and then through the spine to the small of your back. There's a place there called the Ming Men Gate. So Ming Men sits between L3 and L4 on your spine, the lumbar vertebra. And the proximity of L3 and L4 to the base of the kidneys can't be ignored. There's the bottom of each kidney and a little triangular space between the tip or the kind of bottom of each kidney and the Ming Men Gate. This is a very powerful area in our body. When we do lift you up, port you down, it moves independently, gently on its own. And so we have this lovely access from the hands, belly button, lower dantian, Ming Men Gate. And above it, just above the kidneys are really important organs in our lives. We build up lots of qi in our kidneys, supports life function. We build up lots of qi in our belly, supports life function. When you look at a map of acupuncture points, you find that the major 18 channels of the body flow very close to this area that we're holding, going down through the core of the body, some going down into your legs, some coming up into your arms, some coming up into the head, but everything passing by this central area. So the idea is that if we fill lower dantian with qi, that all of the channels will fill with qi, that all of the organs can be supplied with qi. Dr. Pang looks at the acupuncture system and he says, yep, that's all correct. You know, everything's right there. He looks at yin and yang and he says, yep, absolutely. Then he says, go beyond that. Those are just subdivisions of the Uber qi, which he calls Hunyuan qi. He says your whole universe is made of Hunyuan qi. Inside your body and outside your body is Hunyuan qi. Why make any differentiation? Why worry about all these little splits, whether it's lung qi or kidney qi or wei qi, whatever it might be? Don't worry about that. Go beyond that. If you're filling yourself with the primary energy, your body will take care of all those things. You don't need to know about the finer gradations in the qi. All you need to know is that there's a vast supply of this energy available to you. And there's only one thing that stops you from having it. And that, unfortunately, is your mind. So mind is such a kind of like a catch-all term. We have all these ideas built into Qigong about the ego. Oh, your ego. It's all about defending you, defending what you believe to be true, defending on who you think you are. And we go, it's like the city walls, your defense system, So we go in through the city walls to see what's inside, and we discover that there are thousands of little yous walking around inside the city. Some of them believe they're fighters, they're lovers, they're husbands, they're wives, they're hurt children, they're animals, whatever they might be, all of these little beings inside your city walls. And what we have to look at is why they're in there. Who are they? What are they doing? So you have your ego, and then inside you have what we call your second-hand self. So the second-hand self is things that you've been given all along through your life. When you were born, you didn't know anything about society. You didn't know anything about the rules of society, what you could say, what you couldn't say. We have to be trained in all of that stuff. You didn't know about God and what God tells you to do or doesn't tell you to do, or the rules around religion. You didn't know anything about maths or science. You had to be taught all of this stuff. The question is, who's been doing the teaching? Why have they been doing the teaching? What do they have to gain from teaching you all this stuff? So now it's good that we can have a society where, you don't just get slaughtered one day in the pub, every single day, people getting killed in the pub just because they said the wrong thing, just as you're walking down the street, random shots fired. Yeah, I know there's parts of the world where that happens, but we have a society that keeps us safe, which is great. But also, there are many societal things that are twisted so badly that kind of affect our lives. Things that we wouldn't really want for ourselves, but we just have to kind of be part of and just do. Things that make us cross about society. Every day you listen to the news and you think, oh, heavens above, or you worry about it, you're cross about it, you shout at the television, whatever it might be. Society impinges on your life. And at some deep level, there are triggers there. Why do you have these triggers? We find so many things come from our parents, don't we? Our dad's point of view on politics, our mother's fear about, life, the big world. All these sort of things are things that we pick up, and they're their stories belonging to them and belonging to our grandparents, belonging to our great-grandparents. But do they still serve us? It's a big question. Then there's second-hand information as well. Second-hand information, second-hand self. Sorry, just got my terms mixed up. So that's all the second-hand information that we're given by society, politics, parents. But also there's the information we give ourselves, our self-image. I remember my colleague John saying, at the age of 35, I discovered a pattern that I'd started using to protect myself when I was a 12-year-old boy going off to boarding school. I thought that was very telling. 35, he was still using the same pattern to protect himself that he had done when he was 12. What information in your life have you given yourself? What have you told yourself about who you are? I tell myself things. I'm a great husband. I'm a great father. I'm a woodworker. I'm a teacher. I'm a good driver. I'm a blah, blah, blah. And all the stories go on. Badges that I've awarded myself. I'm an adopted child. I was hurt by my mother. These are badges I've given myself too. So whether you know it or not, I was adopted at birth. I was the luckiest child on earth. I got a wonderful upbringing. Great family. So the question is, how do I choose to think about that circumstance? Could I have done anything about it? Well, the answer is quite clearly no. It just happened. It was an event. It was on my timeline. So maybe we just take a step back and say, why did that happen to me? There are plenty of theories about how these things work. And if you read various books, there was a lovely book I once read, which was called Life Between Life. And essentially, it was a guy who hypnotized people and found that they could tell him what happened to them after they died and before they moved on to their next life. There's an awful lot of information piled into that. So, perhaps you don't believe there's a next life. Perhaps you don't believe there's life after death. Perhaps you just don't believe you exist. But anyway, let's just take this as being the premise of his work as a hypnotist. And he said that he could get people to remember what it was like after they died. 75% of people had the same extraordinary image of a vast kind of rainbow of light spread across the universe. And the more you kind of traveled into it, the more you realized that there were these things which he sort of said, well, they must be souls. And they were on little sort of grapevines. So imagine a bunch of grapes hanging together. And those are all the souls that you had constantly been reincarnating with for life after life. And then there were all the bunches of souls nestled together, 2 or 3 bunches hanging on each vine. And they were people who were always come somewhere in your satellite, souls that you didn't necessarily connect with on a very deep level, but they were always part of your story. And so these souls in your bunch of grapes, people would constantly connect with each other throughout life after life. And they would say, after they had kind of returned back to this kind of beautiful space, that they would have lessons with higher beings. They said that all of these grapes seemed to glow in different kind of colors. And the more you went up the light spectrum, towards bright white or whatever it was, that, the more enlightened these beings were, the more lifetimes they'd been through, the more they'd learned. And so we could learn about what we'd done wrong in the last life, and we could plan what we wanted to do in our next life and how we could evolve our soul even further, what games we'd give ourselves to play in our next incarnation, who we'd incarnate with. So, the last life you might say, well, you were my mother and you were my father, but this time I'm going to be your father and this one's going to be your mother. And so it's this wonderful idea of kind of different roles being played, of this consciousness pervading through everything. Consciousness experiencing itself through our lives. And so if you think that's a possibility, it doesn't have to be, and maybe there are 20 other versions of that which are also possible. I think anything's possible. But if that's one of the stories, then that might account for the fact that I was adopted, that I decided I wanted to be adopted, that I wanted to take on that challenge. It's the only reason I can think of that a child of 3 might come to this life with leukemia. It seems so pointless and terrible. But perhaps that person's chosen that. And very often we hear about people who send ripples through other people's lives. Even in their death, they send ripples through other people's lives. A child dies young, and then suddenly the mother starts a huge charity up and other children live because that one died. Perhaps that was the purpose. Perhaps that was the seed. I'm talking about seedless grapes now, or seeded grapes. Perhaps that little sort of, seed, short life, moved that person on, developed that person immensely in their own personal journeys through life. Perhaps, just perhaps, who knows? Who knows? But I'm just sort of prodding at that as a possibility. And perhaps that's what I chose. Even if I chose it or not, how did I deal with this life challenge? So given this life challenge, I am an adopted child. I didn't know whether I'd chosen it or not. Just a fact. It just happened. Nothing I could do. So you have 2 choices with everything in your life. Be hurt by it or just take it and build on it. Fortunately, I took the second path. I didn't really think much about it. Everything around me was good. I was happy. Just allow everything to build up. At some stage, I did go back and I actually did hypnosis myself and I kind of life before life kind of channeling. And I experienced the circumstances of my birth and I made my peace with it. These days, it doesn't worry me. There's two parts to that. One is that if something fundamental in your life has affected the course of your life, the first thing is it's always good to look at the roots of it and gently tug at them, softly pull them out and heal them. But the other thing is, how do you choose to respond to anything in your life? Do you want to become a victim? This has happened in my life. This has happened in my relationship. Someone has died, someone has left, something is broken forever. And now I want to cry, I want to be hurt, I want to bleed, I want pain. Okay, that's your choice. So be it. Or, I feel an opportunity here. I feel something I can work with, something I can move on from, something I can kick on from, something I can use as a foundation to build myself new. So I know which I chose, and I know which I think everybody else would choose, but it's not quite as easy as that, as we know. In the heat of the fire, sometimes it's much more difficult to see that. But that is the life challenge. That is what we've given ourselves, the challenge. And there's also this responsibility taking, which is very difficult. You might be ill. It's got something to do with you. In the Western world, we get ill and the people say, oh, well, go and give it all over to the doctors. And so the doctor looks after you and it's his responsibility. Doctors don't say, you shouldn't have, drunk all of your life. Now you've made yourself ill. Some do, very few do. They just sort of say, oh, here's a patient you're presenting with, severe alcoholism or whatever. We'll have to heal him. But we don't look at the reasons. And so the person who presents as an alcoholic might have been unhappy as a child, unhappy as an adult, found solace in drinking, and eventually has come to this place. Well, there's only one person who can take responsibility for that course of action, and that is you. And it's a very unpopular viewpoint these days. You made yourself ill. Nobody wants to hear that. But it is the truth. At some tiny level, there is a seed of truth. You might have ended up working in a toxic job, and the toxic job has made you ill. Well, that's the job's fault. Well, at some level, you chose that job. At some level, you put yourself on that path. At some level, your desire for, money or fame or even just security, but a desperate desire to have something come about has put you on a path that has brought you to a place with a result. So we have to look at the drivers in our life. What do you want? So the ego says, I want. That's one of the really key places to look. What do you want? I just want enough money. I just want a happy relationship. These are all things that the ego believes that you need. Maslow has this hierarchy, doesn't he? Roof over your head, food, water, not to be threatened, these kind of things. The very simple basic building blocks of our life. If something happens to you, if your relationship changes, can you still see a roof over your head? Can you still see food on your table? Can you be secure? I know that if everything fell to pieces, my sister would take me in tomorrow. I mean, if everything was reset to 0, I would have the basic needs met and could start again. Very few of us are in a situation where a friend wouldn't take us in and help us. Very few of us are truly alone with nothing at all. And even when you have nothing at all, you still have this extraordinary power in you to drive yourself forward. So you're never at 0. So much of what we feel is about what other people will think about us. What happens if I lose my job? What will people say about me? What will people think about me? People will point, stare, gossip. Sure, let them. Who gives a fig? What's really important is you, the core of you, the heart of you, the love in you. Maybe being reset back to the beginning is perfect for you. Rebuilding yourself from the very beginning. Perfect. Strip back to nothing. Begin again. Sometimes when I think about that, I think about kind of a Zen apartment, white walls, cup, saucer. I begin to think about a sort of a mat on the floor and a small, low Japanese table, and that's it. Start again from your basic Japanese house. I don't know why I'm suddenly living in Japan, but there we are. So the only thing about that story is the fear of what people will think, the fear about, will I survive? You know you'll survive. You know the fear is just that old acronym, false evidence appears real, F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real, like a mirage. As soon as you walk up to the fear, it just dissolves. And you think, wow, what was I so scared of? So now we need the power in our life. We need to realize our own inner power. Our own inner power to heal ourselves. So we've come full circle to the point. Nothing in your life cannot be broken down. Nothing cannot be healed. Nothing cannot be changed. Nothing cannot be changed. Just think about that. Nothing cannot be broken down. Nothing cannot be healed. Nothing cannot be brought about. These are all phrases from Dr. Pang. So when we finally look at ourselves in a deeply critical way and see the patterns that have held us from our healing, see the little stories that have been implanted over the years that have blocked the way, when we finally spot them, it's like the image of a traveler coming out of a forest and parting the bushes, and suddenly there's the city beyond or the fields beyond, out of the forest, and you finally see these patterns and you move them aside and you realize that it's easy walking from then onwards. The old stories no longer have to be your stories. The old blockages that kept you from healing can be dissolved. That you can let go of the past now. You can let go of the stories that your grandparents and your parents told you. You can let go of the things that you learned from society, from school and from religion. You can let go and just be your pure, true self. As you stand, perhaps you can imagine stepping back from your body. Perhaps you can imagine being above and behind your body. Just imagine your body standing in front of you and you behind, above. You can see the scene. Your body's there in front of you, the room in front of you. Now you can see this lovely body. Why not send some healing to it? Pour your healing chi into your body. Where does it need some help today? Perhaps there's some grouchy bits that need a bit of love and chi. So from your vantage point, you can send chi into this body. Healing the old patterns, letting things go that are no longer needed. Dissolving the old stories. So we could do some La Chi on our bodies. So why not just release your hands and open a ball of Chi? You gently move the hands backwards and forwards. So now, in your mind's eye, see your body in between your hands. When you move the hands apart, dissolve all the problems. When you bring Chi back, send Chi into your body. So you can almost like working on an effigy of yourself. Sort of suddenly brings to mind sort of voodoo dolls and things, but no, don't. It's just this kind of like, imaginary image of yourself in between your hands. Just imagine you're standing behind you, and in front of you is this body that needs healing. So where does it need healing? Where do you instinctively feel drawn to? Just look at the body in front and then just allow your healing to move to that area. Send chi deep inside. Open the hands and let the chi gently dissolve all the problems. And the hands come back together. We draw a flood of chi into the body. So we're now doing kind of remote healing on ourselves. Hands open and the chi dissolves all the problems. Hands close and chi flows into this body to rebuild it. So if you can't particularly think of anything you want to work with, you could work with the lungs for this time of year. So you can imagine piling lots of energy into the lungs, everything working well for this season. Perhaps you know exactly where to work. Perhaps there's something very specific like an Achilles tendon or a knee or something. Every time you open your hands, you can just let the whole of the area dissolve out into the blue sky. When you bring your hands together, bring back a perfect healed version of your knee, vertebra, whatever it is. So here we are working away, doing our La Chi. We can also say Kai and Her. So when we open the hands up, Kai lets everything dissolve. When we bring the hands back together, Her draws Chi into the body. So it just sort of reinforces things. Kai. Draw chi deep inside the body. So just as you hold the hands, just remember that this healing is perfect. It's exactly what's required. Don't think about a problem anymore. Just think that when you've drawn the chi in, everything is perfect. And when you let go, you're just letting go of the whole area where the old problem used to be. And when we come bringing chi back in, we get the healing chi rushing in to pour into that area, and everything is fixed. lets the whole area dissolve. Perhaps the whole body is dissolving. Perhaps the whole of your life is dissolving, whatever it is. Her brings back this amazing healing chi, rebuilding, fixing, healing. Dissolve, dissolve, dissolve. Rebuild, perfect working chi. Just a couple more. Last time. So the next two are just more silent, just quiet. Last two are just movement alone, no sound. We can gently draw our hands back onto the belly. Just make a little ball of chi. Let it sit on your tummy. Fingertips slightly touching. Ball of chi just over the belly button. Chi absorbing deep inside, gathering all this amazing energy deep into your body. Fill lower dantian with chi, an abundance of energy deep inside the core of you. Bring the hands gently into the prayer position in front of your heart. Step on chi to bring your feet back together into the Zheneng Qigong posture, so the feet are closed. Draw the hands up in front of the face, up over the top of the head, extend up into the blue sky. Oh, and then let your hands drift down, let your knees soften a little bit, open up little fingers, ring fingers, middle fingers, split the hands apart down to shoulder height, gathering chi around to the front, and then send the chi deep inside your brain. Upper dantian chi is abundant, blood and chi flowing well through your brain, all functions of your brain returning to perfect working order. Gather the hands back underneath the arms. Just lightly touch on the sides underneath your armpit. Imagine flowing chi into your heart and lungs. Spleen, pancreas, liver and kidneys, especially lungs at this time of year. Fill them with chi. Feel them strong, working well. Drifting the hands straight behind us. The back of the hands move towards the front of the body. Turn the palms over with a flourish. Send a wave of chi out into the blue sky. And then gently draw some chi back for your belly. Big ball of chi. Squeeze deep inside. Hold the chi deep in lower dantian. An abundance of energy. Lower dantian. Feel your body. Feel inside every cell of your body. Feel your body in perfect working order. This amazing healing you've given to your body. It starts the healing process, gets everything moving. Sometimes it takes a little while for the body to heal itself, but you know that you're on the right trajectory. You know you're headed in the right direction. Everything working well. All functions of your body returning to perfect working order. Let's turn some circles around the belly. 3 circles around the belly, just gathering chi back inside, holding this energy. And we'll turn 3 circles in the opposite direction. That just draws all the chi into the central place, stores all the energy inside you, holds it deep inside. Lower dantian, abundant with chi, blood and chi flowing well through your body. All this healing inside the body. All functions of your body returning to perfect working order. All functions of your body normal. All functions normal. Feel that. All functions of your body perfect working order. Everything working normally. Big smile on your face. As you stand here, imagine your Wei Qi layer. So it's a protective layer of Qi around your skin, a barrier, a protection, a layer of energy. And then around that, your Qi body, above, below, behind, in front, a meter around you, this vast energetic field, protecting you, but also connecting you into the world outside. Feel protected and connected. Whole body working well. All functions normal. Big smile on your face. Release your hands down by your sides. Let's just move fingers, move toes, have a little bit of a stretch out. So when we finish, we always say Hao La. Hao La means good already. Everything is already sorted. So if you'd like to unmute yourselves, we'll all say Hao La together. Okay, so hands up in the air. 1, 2. Hao La. 1, 2. Hao La. 1, 2. Hao La. Lovely. We have a little salute. Right hand faces up, left hand down. You just draw the fingers together. Oh, thank you very much, everyone. Really nice to see you online today. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye.